Before we can begin to sell something, we have to have some idea of what it is we're trying to sell. So a good place to start this course is by asking the question, what does Genesys sell? 10 years ago, the answer was pretty straightforward. Genesys sells software that makes your call center more efficient. 5 years ago, the answer was similar, but a bit more comprehensive, as we now support multimedia and improved reporting. So the answer could be modified to be, Genesys sells software that makes your contact center more efficient and effective. What about today then? With the current version, what does Genesys sell? If you ask marketing, you may get an answer like, Genesys sells solutions that solve a prospect's business needs. And although this may sound a bit high level, it is in fact a very valid point. Rather than asking, what does Genesys sell? It's better to turn the question around and ask, what are our prospects looking for? So what are our prospects looking for? To begin with, most companies now recognize that communication is a strategic business tool that can be used to drive business forward. It does this in two main ways. First, the process of buying products and services has changed from a high-street presence to a virtual presence on the phone, on the internet, on social media. And this includes not only the buying, but reviews, complaints, and ratings as well. Second, businesses need to know quantitatively how their business is being affected across all these multiple channels. And they need to know now, not at the end of the week. They also need to be able to spot short and long-term trends on how business is reacting. Next, end-user customers are now used to communicating with an ever-increasing range of devices, and companies need to ensure that they can support all the different ways customers can engage. Of course, communication companies can support multiple channels, but what they can't do is support them in a multimodal fashion. That is to say, across multiple channels simultaneously. What happens when a customer is on the web and decides to call, or when they are in the middle of a mobile app and need to chat to an expert? Typically, they have to stop what they're doing and start again on a new channel. That is, unless they have a Genesys solution. When multiple channels of communication are available to customers, they'll use the one most convenient to them at the time, and they may well use different channels while discussing the same topic. They expect the update they provided in the web chat session to be known to the agent they have just called, or the change of details they gave to the IVR to be reflected in the mobile app they have just initiated. This requires the linking of interactions in a step-by-step workflow. In other words, orchestration. Only when every interaction is linked and integrated with the business processes will customers be delighted at every contact. Of course, not every customer and not every interaction is of equal value. Depending on who the customer is and what they're trying to achieve will, or should, have an effect on how their interactions are handled. A company needs to provide a personalized and context-appropriate experience for each and every customer to manage the customer journey. This ability to work effectively across communication channels can be summed up in the word omni-channel, meaning ever-present on every channel. So how does Genesys step up to provide a service to meet all these requirements? What's the key to our success? Genesys provides a framework on which to build a totally integrated omni-channel communication and analytics infrastructure, combining multimodality, orchestration, and journey management to ensure a great customer experience with compelling business outcomes. So, who needs to be engaged if we want to provide great customer service? First, we need to engage with customers. Engagement needs to be implemented whenever any of the company's staff, agents, specialists, technical support are dealing with customers over any communication channel available. That way, a coherent, professional conversation can take place every time, creating a great customer experience. To engage customers, you need to ensure that every interaction, whether over the phone, in person, SMS, email or web, is used as a means of providing them with a service above their expectations, which differentiates your company from the competition time after time. Next, the workforce needs to be engaged with each other across the different departments and divisions. To engage your workforce, you need to provide them with the right tools to ensure that any communication is easy to set up and allow them to share data and knowledge effectively, improving efficiency and giving them the ability to foster innovation. Finally, the resources and business processes provided must support engagement, not act as a barrier to it. You need to make sure all the resources of the enterprise can be used when necessary to provide a better service to your customers, so that every time a customer contacts you or you contact them, all the necessary information is made available to an appropriate resource, agent, knowledge worker, voice or web self-service, so that the interaction, whatever it is, can be handled to completion in a professional manner. Enterprises need to put customer experience at the center of their customer communication strategies. Tackling just one specific area, for example the contact center, is not enough. What happens when we don't engage, when the customer experience is not managed effectively? Customers are frustrated with the poor service they are getting, which is bad enough in itself. They also defect to the competition and tell all their colleagues, family and friends about the poor service they've received. That used to mean that 30, 40, maybe even 50 people got to hear about the bad experience. Today, with the increasing popularity of social media, bad news travels instantaneously to hundreds, even thousands of people, which amplifies the problem considerably. Agents and support staff start to fall down the slippery slope of stress and feel overworked, undervalued, and unable to help the customers' requests and complaints, adding to the plummeting reduction in customer satisfaction. And increased agent churn puts even more stress on the business, increasing training costs, reducing sales success rate, and putting even more pressure on the existing staff. And finally, the business loses focus and suffers because other resources like back office support staff, branch office staff, or customer support staff are underused, and opportunities for preventing customer attrition or increasing cross and upselling are lost. So what do companies need to do to avoid these pitfalls and make sure that the customer experience is the best it can be at every step of the customer journey? That's where Genesys comes in, by providing the infrastructure to make this happen. By engaging effectively with customers every step of the customer journey, using customer insights to dynamically personalize interactions, by orchestrating all customer-facing processes and back-office work processes, and by allowing the customer to have a single continuous conversation across all touchpoints and channels, companies can deliver a highly effective customer experience that's second to none. Let's take a look now in more detail at how Genesys can do this. The next 4 modules will cover the customer experience platform and the main products and solutions that it contains. Time now for a quick quiz on what Genesys sells. This module covers the channels that are supported within the Genesys Customer Experience platform. There are a number of schematics available which try to show the whole range of Genesys products and solutions in a single slide. This is the current one, which is currently deployed on the Genesys.com website. Whereas this is useful from an overall marketing perspective, it isn't designed to show all the separate products that go to make up a Genesys implementation. So I'm going to use a slightly different one in this course, which is not one you would normally show a prospective customer, unless they specifically asked, what does Genesys do? Remember, the way to sell Genesys is not to begin by describing all the features and functions of all the products, as I am going to do in this training course, but to determine the customer's business needs first, and then present a way to meet these needs using a subset of Genesys products all working together. This type of slide is generally known within Genesys as a hot dog slide, because the original version, at version 5, started off with the CX platform in the middle with all the other products around it, so it looked a bit like a hot dog. Today, at version 8.5, with so many new offerings, this slide tends to resemble a club sandwich more than a hot dog, but the name remains. Enough about food. I'm going to cover each of these different sections in more detail, so by the end you'll have a good idea of what all these different offerings do. We'll start with the basic 3 offerings which have been around the longest: inbound voice, outbound voice, and voice self-service. As you would expect, Genesys continues to support inbound voice and provide multiple ways of handling these calls as efficiently and effectively as possible. As well as still being the most popular means of communication, inbound voice is also the most difficult to manage because it's real-time and because the business has little control over its generation. Effective queue management, intelligent routing, real-time reporting, and forecasting all play important roles in making sure that inbound voice calls are handled well. One of Genesys' key strengths in the past was that we connected to a whole range of different PBXs and ACDs, which were the hardware that drove the call centers. This is still true today, but more and more customers are now transitioning over to a SIP-based telephony infrastructure, which no longer needs a PBX or ACD, or they're starting to use other integrated communication systems like Skype for Business. And of course, Genesys supports both these infrastructures. Traditionally, outbound voice is used mainly for 2 key areas: telesales and marketing, and collections. These 2 business areas are still important and normally provide a good return on investment when replacing manually based operations. But now, more focused outbound call generation is being implemented using notifications. In traditional telemarketing and collections, it doesn't really matter who the agent is talking to, as they say exactly the same thing to whoever answers the call. With Notification Center, the main difference is that a call is made to a specific individual with information specific for that individual. This is a major difference because notification is designed to improve customer service. So, for example, the outbound call will be to inform the caller that their flight has been delayed, or that their order will be dispatched today, or a reminder that they have an appointment in the hospital today at 10:30. The contact may be an automated IVR response, or an SMS text message, or a live agent. And although the technology is similar to traditional outbound, the impact to the customer and to the business is quite different. Voice self-service has been around for some time, and its benefit to the business as a cost-effective means of handling simple, repetitive requests is well known. However, IVRs in general are not regarded favorably by the general public, as they often appear to be a poor substitute for and an obstacle to getting to a live agent who can actually help. This is normally due to poor design and implementation. Voice self-service using the Genesys voice platform can be used for simple self-service operations, but it can do so much more, something we'll discuss in more detail when we look at conversation management. And voice self-service is no longer an isolated resource to be used as a poor substitute for a live agent. Integration with intelligent speech recognition, knowledge management systems, video and smart apps on mobile devices all add to its ability to provide an excellent customer service. In addition, voice self-service is no longer a solution in its own right. Genesys now offers a complete solution which includes voice self-service as well as self-service over other channels such as mobile and web. And it's important to understand that any self-service offering now needs to integrate interactions occurring over any of the self-service channels as well as during an assisted service interaction. We'll discuss this in the next section. The concept of video communications has been around for a long time, but was complicated to provide using traditional PBX technology. But today, we're all used to accessing video in our personal life, using YouTube to see how to configure our mobile devices, sending video recordings to friends, or watching a movie on the go. And customers now expect business to provide the same service. Technology is now ready to adopt video for mass usage in the business-to-customer world, and businesses are keen to deploy this technology across all vertical markets and in all business units. With so many interactions now on digital devices, video has become a key part of the digital customer experience. The Genesys Video Gateway provides a means to include video interactions whenever they're required, ranging from live video communications with contact center agents to branch office kiosks providing an overflow service when the branch is busy, or to offer enhanced specialist services. Since the Gateway provides native integration to the Genesys CX platform, a video service can be provided whenever it's needed. Next, we'll look at the non-voice or digital channels, what channels are supported, and what self-service is available on these channels. As you're probably aware, voice is only half the story. In fact, slightly less than half the story, as most analysts determined that the total number of customer service interactions made over voice dropped to below 50% around about 2012. That means that over 50% of customer service interactions now occur on channels other than voice. So what are these non-voice channels? These are the channels shown here, and I'll cover them in more detail in the next few slides. Email was the first non-voice channel to become mainstream, followed by chat, and now mobile and social channels are growing at a rapid pace. It's important to emphasize here that proper support for these digital channels needs to take into account the fact that these are not either-or channels. Customers don't either use voice or email. They use the channel most convenient to them at the time and may come back to the conversation using a different channel later. They may even use two at the same time. This takes us back to the original comment I made about what does Genesys sell. Support needs to be multimodal and omni-channel. Together with the tools to support this, a content analyzer is available for all text-based interactions, email, web chat, SMS text message, and social media, so that they can be analyzed and an intelligent decision be made on how to handle them. In a similar way to handling voice calls, emails can be responded to in collaboration with or transferred to other specialists in the contact center or in the back office. Web chats are handled in a similar way to emails, but are more real-time. If required, agents are allowed to handle multiple chat sessions at once, or even a mixture of chat sessions and other interaction types. The transcripts of all chat sessions are stored for future reference and can be mailed to the customer if required. In a similar way to voice call handling, chat sessions can also be transferred or conferenced, and supervisors can monitor or intervene in live chat sessions if they wish. As chat sessions are considered to be real-time conversations, the state of the contact center can be taken into account before a chat session is offered. Co-browsing. This particular channel has been around for a number of years and is a true multimodal communication in that it requires two simultaneous channels, the co-browsing screen and either voice or chat. Voice is better. This makes it an expensive channel to support because it requires a dedicated agent, a co-browsing server, and a communication channel as well, so it tends to be used only for complex or high-value transactions. The co-browsing server does not share the screen with both agent and customer, but gives different views of the same interaction and can be customized so that, for example, the agent doesn't see personal or confidential data, or the customer doesn't see comments or history. No software download or plugin or other code is necessary, and either party can be enabled to request a co-browse session. Web engagement takes conversations on the web to the next level by tracking what the customer is doing on the web and checking relevant activity which has happened previously on the web or on another channel. That means that when an agent does begin a conversation with a customer, they are far more prepared to assist or close a sale than offering a general "how can I help" type response. Web engagement also offers the ability to offer a range of different channels on which to continue the conversation, for example, email or a scheduled callback. Web engagement can be introduced so that information gathered during a web-based session can be passed on and used to assist in the routing and handling of other interactions, and a web chat session or a call me now or later function can be introduced if deemed necessary, minimizing abandonment and making web self-help as effective as voice self-help. Social media tends to be handled separately in the selling process because it involves areas of the business not linked directly with other aspects of web-based customer service, specifically marketing. In most companies, the marketing department is the first to realize the vast opportunities and threats of social media. You will all have heard tales of how Twitter and Facebook have been used to open up vast opportunities in sales or trashed a company's reputation in a very short time. Good news and bad news spreads rapidly over these networks, so that thousands or even millions of people are informed almost immediately. Genesys Social Engagement, which offers direct access to Twitter and Facebook, as well as an open interface to other networks, is a great tool to allow marketing to monitor what is being said on these networks and collect useful information about the company's products and reputation. But this is just the tip of the iceberg. What happens when customers try to contact a company using social media, either open networks like Facebook or Twitter, or closed networks like user forums? Marketing doesn't want to handle technical queries or orders, but if they just throw them over the wall to the contact center, there is no continuity or consistent service. And if a high-value or highly followed celebrity expresses concern or irritation about one of your products or services, don't you need to check this out and respond quickly, either using the same social network or a more private means, such as email or a phone call? Genesys Social Engagement does all this and allows companies to start to use social media effectively in a controlled fashion. I should also mention here that Genesys Social Analytics is another useful tool to help companies sift through the huge amount of noise on social networks and filter out those messages which need further action. Our new Knowledge Center, which is designed to provide a library of consistent responses for both assisted or agent interactions across all the digital and voice channels. We need to consider interactions using mobile devices. Smartphones are increasingly being used as a means of interaction, not only as a personal and always available phone, but also as a portable device capable of running a whole range of apps. This is one of the latest and potentially disruptive technologies in the customer service industry, and many companies already have smart apps that provide a real service at a fraction of the cost of an equivalent service using a traditional agent conversation. But what happens when a smart app doesn't provide the customer with the answer they need? Typically, the customer has to start all over again using another channel, and if this happens too often, the smart app ceases to be all that smart. That's where Genesys can help by making sure the information obtained during the smart app interaction is passed to an agent where needed. We can also provide a call me now or call me later function that can be included in the smart app itself, providing access to all the other communication channels available, while hiding all that complexity away from the app designers. We can also integrate the use of smart apps into the other channels, so that, for example, in response to a phone inquiry, we can pass the required data into the smart app itself, removing the need for a callback or providing other visual services like post-call surveys. There are several ways SMS, or texts, can be used to advantage in customer transactions. In this session, we're talking about incoming texts to the contact center. Typically, text messaging is a one-and-done communication, but these are sometimes expanded into a conversation, and in this instance, the texts form a single conversation. These are handled in a similar way to chat, so the transcript is saved. As they are text-based, they can also be used by Content Analyzer and Knowledge Center to provide automated responses or agent-assisted answers. It's also possible to support MMS or multimedia, such as photographs. For example, an auto insurance company may request a customer to send a photograph of the car damage, and this is presented to the agent and stored with the other data. Genesys offers a third-party product, Virtual Hold, to provide a callback service in a call center environment, where in busy periods, a caller is offered the option of scheduling a callback rather than continuing to wait on hold until an agent is available. However, what we're offering here, labeled callback, is not the same. Callback is the ability to offer a visitor coming in on the web, on the phone, or via a mobile app the option to be contacted by phone at a time convenient to them. This is then presented to an agent at the appropriate time. Both the agent and the customer can reschedule the callback if required, and as with all telephony, a successful two-way connection is not always guaranteed. An automated email or SMS message can be sent if the agent fails to make contact at the appropriate time. This module covers the channels that are supported. So I'm going to use a slightly different one. You may be asking at this point, in fact you should be asking, how on earth does Genesys keep track of all this information coming in over multiple channels? And how does it link it all together to give a seamless conversation with the customer? Well, the answer is Conversation Manager, which is a product we'll discuss in more detail when we look under the covers in the later module. It's true to say that Conversation Manager is a major differentiator for Genesys and is key to providing a great customer experience in a multimodal and omni-channel world. So, to recap on this module, we've looked at the traditional inbound and outbound voice operation and explained how this has now been enhanced with improved handling and reporting, together with new functionality like notifications. We've discussed improvements to existing voice self-service and how this has been extended to multi-channel self-service. We've seen how video is now available in the business-to-customer world, covered all the digital channels that are currently supported by Genesys, and touched on how Genesys can provide true multimodal and omni-channel support with Conversation Manager. Let's do a quick quiz here to see if you've remembered the key point of this module. Now that you've seen what communication channels are supported, this module will show you the agent user interface, plus how we support all aspects of workforce optimization. Let's consider first the agent user interface, Genesys Workspace. In a multimodal and omni-channel environment, there's a lot of information available concerning each interaction over multiple channels. And we mustn't forget how important it is that the agents or back office staff handling the interactions are presented with the information they need to understand the purpose of the interaction and to offer a speedy solution. That's where our integrated desktop application, Genesys Workspace, comes in. In Genesys Workspace, all the information discussed in the section on digital channels, plus all the other channels, can be made available in a single browser-based desktop. This ensures that when an agent is presented with an interaction on any of the supported channels, they can quickly see what other activity has been occurring recently, so that they are now in a position to continue the existing conversation rather than having to start a brand new one. And if the agent decides it would be better to continue a conversation on another channel, for example, moving from a web chat to a voice call or a call browse, or if they need to consult with or transfer an interaction to a specialist team member, they can do this at the click of a button. If the customer already has a desktop they wish to keep, that can of course be supported, either using an existing adapter or the software development toolkit. More on this later. So now I've covered all the channels available and how the information is presented to the agents and back office staff, how can we make sure that we're making good use of the workforce we have? That's where workforce optimization, or WFO, comes in. It's probably worth looking at a definition of what WFO covers, as defined by independent consultants, such as Gartner, GMG, and Data Monitor, when they discuss all the ingredients that make up complete WFO. Some of the technologies listed here, like workforce management and call recording, have been around for a long time. Others are fairly new. Traditionally, these tend to be point solutions to solve specific problems, but there are great benefits in integrating these point solutions together to form a technology in its own right. In total, the purpose of WFO is twofold: to make sure a company is making the best possible use of its most valuable resource, its own people, and to make the best possible use of the information gathered during interactions with its customers. If we look at the first ingredients of WFO, call recording and agent evaluation go hand in hand, and Genesys can support both these with the call recording and quality manager products in an exclusively IP telephony environment, and by providing connectors to third-party voice recorders in the TDM or hybrid environment. As an option, the agent screen activity while on a call can also be captured. The next ingredient, workforce management, has been around for a long time and is a proven method of accurately matching a company's predicted workload to the available resource. Genesys provides its own workforce management for this purpose, which is, of course, fully integrated with the CX platform. Once individual and team training requirements have been identified, Training Manager is deployed to set up and monitor coaching, e-learning, and classroom training as required, at times convenient to the attendees and instructors, and ensuring minimal impact to the customer service level as a whole. Having quality monitored the calls from individual agents, you can then move on to assess the performance of the agents using input from the quality management systems, combined with individual skill assessment. Genesys provides Skills Assessor to perform these tasks effectively. Integration with the Real-Time Advisor products also provides individual, team, and group performance metrics. DMG and Gartner suggest that providing real-time customer surveys is a good way of ensuring optimal workforce operation. This can be provided using Genesys Voice Platform for post-call surveys, and of course this can be extended in a multi-channel environment using outbound engagement. Finally, speech analytics is included in the WFO technologies. Intelligent use of speech analytics, as well as the text analytics for other communication channels like SMS and web chat, opens up a vast new area of analytics, tapping into the huge resource of data held in recorded voice calls and text-based interactions. Genesys Speech and Text Analytics provides a patented speech-to-phrase recognition function, allowing businesses to identify reasons why customers call, perform trend analysis, reduce average handling time, minimize customer churn, and much more. Specifically, within WFO, this data can be used to improve agent and process performance. I need to make one last very important point on this slide. In the Genesys solution, all the ingredients of WFO are sitting on a common layer, the CX platform. Through the CX platform, all WFO applications can communicate with each other and with the rest of the Genesys applications. Plus, any third-party applications connected to Genesys via connectors or adapters. This is a key differentiator between Genesys WFO and other WFO offerings, because it allows the WFO applications to be integrated with all the other customer service applications running inside and outside the contact center. How do all these disparate technologies work together to optimize your workforce? Traditionally, they don't. They are point solutions to solve specific problems. How can you map your workforce to your resource? Use workforce management. How can you check that your agents are saying the right things to your customers? Use quality monitoring. How do you ensure all your agents are sufficiently trained? Train everybody. How do you measure the effectiveness of the training? Carry out before and after assessments. But there is a better way. If you link all these disparate technologies together so that each step is planned and builds on the results of the others, you have effective workforce optimization. This is illustrated in this slide in general terms. First, you assess the hard and soft skills of your existing workforce. Then you incorporate this information into your workforce planning. Then make sure this is distributed and used effectively in the day-to-day handling of your customer interactions. In real time, you can monitor how effectively the skills of your workforce are being used with real-time adherence and service level metrics, and over a longer time with interaction analytics and performance metrics. Then, based on this data, you can go back and reevaluate what skills you're missing or which ones need to be improved. Then continue the cycle of continuous improvement. This type of continuous improvement is not only limited to the contact center or front office. Exactly the same techniques can be used to improve the handling of other interactions and tasks in the back office. Starting off from where a task is delivered from any of the back office systems, assess what other information can be added, determine where and when to distribute the task, monitor its progress, and then finally evaluate how the interaction or task has been handled, and then determine how this could be improved. This, in a nutshell, is what we mean by continuous workforce optimization. No matter where the interaction or task comes from, it can be handled effectively and monitored in its progress through to completion. This can only be achieved where the communication and analytics infrastructure is totally integrated. So now we've covered all the interaction channels, looked at implementing self-service effectively, how the agents are provided with the information they need, and how we can make the best possible use of our workforce. The next step is to look at process automation outside the contact center. But before we do that, it's time for another quick quiz to check you've understood the key points from this module. Now it's time to look at what reporting and analytics tools are provided. Reporting and analytics go hand in hand and are used for different purposes, although there is generally quite an overlap. Reporting gives administration and operational management staff a picture of what is happening in the contact center and the back office in real time and historically, so that adjustments can be made to improve efficiency, overall customer experience, and operational effectiveness. Analytics provides the business managers information about how communications with customers is affecting the business as a whole, normally as a trend over time. The first generation call centers provided reporting on operational parameters from day one, but analytics is a fairly new arrival in the customer experience platform arena. Standard phone reports have been available ever since ACPs first came into operation, and these still provide some insight into how efficiently the call center is running. In the example shown here, you can see that in the period 7 a.m. to 7:30 a.m., the average time before a call was answered, average speed to answer, was 41 seconds. The average time before callers abandoned, i.e. hung up, was 26 seconds, and there were 3 abandoned calls at this time. You can compare this with other time slots during the day to highlight hotspots. But this is only a small part of the total story, really only of interest to the call center management. These reports have been updated to include other communication channels such as chat and email, but again, the information is of limited interest. So, how do we want the reports to look? What other information is needed, and by whom? No business user would be all that interested in average time to answer or average abandon time. They want answers to specific business questions. How many callers opted out of self-help and why? Were all our high-value customers answered by qualified agents? And if not, what happened? What impact did the freak snowstorm in Pennsylvania have on how quickly customers' auto payments were handled? What interest was generated by our new promotion introduced last week? These are the sort of questions a business wants answers to. So, can we provide the answers they need? I need to take a short sidestep here to cover a specific but very important aspect of under-the-covers operation of Genesys at this point, because it's fundamental to understanding a key strength of Genesys, and one that many of our competitors cannot emulate, and that is the concept of attached data. Every interaction, and I mean every interaction, has associated with it a block of data that's used to store information about that particular interaction during the life of the interaction. This information stays with the interaction wherever it goes and can be added to and read by any other application or product connected to the Genesys platform, including third-party applications as well. The upshot of all this is that any useful information gathered by any Genesys product or third-party product attached to Genesys is stored with the interaction and can be used later to continue either with the same interaction or with the same conversation over a different interaction. It's important to understand that attached data is not long-term data, so it's not in competition with the CRM or other data repository system. Genesys keeps the attached data just long enough to complete a conversation and provide meaningful reporting and analytics, but any long-term data needs to be passed to a primary database. In the simple example shown here, a customer navigates through an initial IVR and may be asked to enter a customer ID or account number. If any authentication takes place, we would not store any sensitive data in the attached data, but the fact that the customer has been authenticated could be stored and passed on to the call if necessary. Obviously, the number dialed and the caller's number, if known, are also logged, and a history of what options or tasks the customer performed can also be stored. Next, the call gets routed by Genesys to an agent. The routing engine will use the data stored in attached data to assist in any routing decisions. As we'll see later, Conversation Manager may also be used to determine the best way to handle this call based on what has happened with this customer before and what type of customer this is. So when the call finally ends up with an agent, this information is used to give the agent a clearer picture of who the caller is and what they want. Finally, at the end of the call, any useful information pertinent to this interaction gathered by the agent from their discussion or the transactions on the screen can also be stored in attached data and used later either for analytics or passed to another application or system. For example, a voice recorder to help type the recording for future analysis. This short explanation of attached data should now give you an idea of how Genesys works to keep interactions and conversations up to date and relevant in a multimodal and omni-channel environment. Now you understand the key method of how Genesys builds up a source of information about the interactions. Let's look at the two types of reporting provided by Genesys, real-time and historical. We look at real-time options first. There are two real-time reporting programs provided with the CX platform, CC Pulse and Pulse. CC Pulse is a thick client version which has been around for some time and includes real-time methods for all channels and is configured using templates. It's gradually being replaced with a newer version, Pulse, which is a web-based, widget-driven dashboard, which is very easy to customize. Pulse supports both front and back office reporting and provides true omni-channel reporting. The optional advisor products, and there are 4 of them, provide real-time performance management for what is going on in the contact center. They are designed for both business analysts and contact center staff and provide the metrics that are important to each so that they can do their jobs more effectively. The same data often means different things to different people, so users can set their own thresholds and alarms so that they are notified when an out-of-line situation occurs. For example, if a particular type of call is experiencing an unusually long time to answer, this may generate a minor alarm for the operations manager to keep an eye on it if it continues, a higher level alarm to the workforce administrator because the agents are not adhering to their planned schedule, and a major alarm to the customer care manager responsible for this type of call. The advisor products are both outward-looking, how is the outside world affecting the business operations in the contact center, and inward-looking, how is the behavior of the agents affecting business. The GUI provided by the advisor products allows users to drill down on specific data to discover the root cause of out-of-line situations. There is also a mobile advisor product specifically designed to allow mobile staff to keep up to date with how the contact center is performing via their mobile devices. Real-time reporting gives users a good understanding of how their customer interactions are being handled now, but it's the historical reporting that provides information on how business as a whole is being driven by the contact center and the back office operations, and forms the basis on which true business analytics can be created. So let's look at what historical reporting is offered by Genesys. CC Analyzer is included with the CX platform and provides standard contact center reports across all channels, providing information on how efficiently the contact center is running. A bunch of standard reports are included, and if a customer wants custom reports, they can create them themselves using an analytics tool such as Hyperion or Business Objects, or pay for Genesys PS to create the reports for them. In addition to CC Analyzer, Genesys now offers a much more comprehensive data source of business-focused data called Infomart, which collects much more information than CC Analyzer, including all the data gathered by attached data, and makes it available for analysis. Also available is Interactive Insights, which sits on top of Infomart as a business analytics tool. This is explained in more detail in the next slide. CC Analyzer is included with the CX platform. Genesys provides interactive insights for historical analysis to allow users to drill down to find out why specific trends occurred, designed for use by both the contact center and business analytics staff. The data source for this analysis is Infomart, which maintains a host of different data generated by Genesys for this purpose. If a customer is already doing performance management for the rest of its organization and has the skills and business analysis tools in-house to analyze the data, then they can purchase Infomart on its own. If they want to be able to analyze the operation of the contact center directly, then Genesys provides interactive insights, which includes a complete data universe together with a front-end analysis tool to allow business users to run their own analysis without having to worry about the complexity of the raw data. Interactive Insights comes with built-in drills and filters to allow users to analyze the data effectively. So if you need to know how successful a specific campaign was and what was the impact on the contact center operation, or find which type of customer raised the most number of service calls, Infomart has the data, and Interactive Insights allows you to search for the trends you need. The current version of Interactive Insights provides a query and analysis tool and canned reports for inbound and outbound voice, email, chat, and IWD work items. We are adding additional interactions and more in-depth reports all the time. Here's a quick example of what Interactive Insights allows business users to do with the data available. Say I'm a business manager interested to find out how successful my latest cross-selling airline credit card campaign has been. I bring up my latest standard reports on credit card sales in the contact center and see that there has certainly been some increased activity in this area, which has impacted the service level, especially in the gold and platinum card sales calls. This may require additional resource to handle the increased activity, but is it worth it? How can I tell? I can manipulate this data myself to include only the calls resulting in a credit card sale by dragging and dropping the appropriate filter onto the report. In this case, just wins. This shows me that there has been increased sales in some areas, but was this specifically for my airline credit card? I can find out by using the product type filters and then just selecting the ones I want. Some of these requests may have happened anyway, not as a result of my campaign. So I can filter the service type to show me only successful cross sales, and so this gives me the numbers I need on which to base my decision. Once a report has been created in this way, it can easily be shared with other users in a number of formats, including Excel and PDF, and automatically scheduled for update and emailing to a user group. Within Interactive Insights, data security is maintained, so access and data manipulation rights will be controlled. This module has covered what reporting and analytic tools are available to admin and management users. So now we can move on to look at process automation and how Genesys products and solutions can be used outside the contact center. But before we do that, it's time for another quick quiz to check you have understood the key points from this module. Now we'll look at the final module in the Customer Experience Platform and see how this can be used to improve processes not only in the contact center, but in the back office operations as well. Traditionally, Genesys has focused its attention in the front office or contact center, but a good customer experience depends just as much on what is happening in the back office. So back office integration and process automation extends the efficiencies introduced in the contact center into the back office. First, let's look at making sure that communication between front and back office is effective. Transferring calls or other interactions between front and back office can be frustrating for the agents, the back office staff, and customers. This is often because the agent has no idea what resource, if any, is available in the back office, and so has to ring around trying to find someone to help. Yet, it is often necessary to do this in order to find the best resource to handle the call. We need to find a way to incorporate the entire enterprise into the customer service delivery by using the existing unified communication systems already in place in the back office. And then we can use the power of Genesys Router to make sure calls are delivered to the most appropriate resource. Back office unified communication systems provides a way to allow employees who are not always in the same place to communicate effectively by setting up multiple communication methods and notifying their presence to their co-workers. But of course, this is not anywhere near as rigid as that employed in the contact center, where agents are required to signal their ability to receive communications very specifically. If they are not already involved in the communication, they must log off or go not ready if they do not want to receive another communication. Is it possible to accommodate these two different work cultures? With Genesys SmartLink, we can use the existing unified communication systems already in place in the back office to provide information to Genesys on what resource is available in the back office. So, if the agent wants help in dealing with a complex loan inquiry, SmartLink will provide a status on whether one or more specialists in the financial group are showing as available on their own unified communication system. The agent can write a quick summary of the problem in their existing agent desktop application, and this gets passed to the back office UC system with a consultation or transfer request. All the back office staff showing available will get a pop-up on their screen showing a summary of the request, and they can either accept or reject the request. As soon as one of the specialists accepts the call, the pop-up disappears from all the other specialist screens, and the call or other interaction is transferred to the specialist. In a similar way, when the specialist has finished their consultation with the customer, the interaction can be passed back into the contact center with a summary written by the specialist so that any agent can continue seamlessly with the call. It's important to note that the specialists do not need to have any Genesys code loaded on their workstations. All the necessary data is passed between SmartLink and the existing back office UC server. This integration of multiple channels not only in the contact center but outside in the back office, branch offices and everywhere else in the business has the potential for another disruptive technology which may explode over the next couple of years. and Genesys is keen to make sure we remain in the forefront. One way we are doing this is with our partnership with Microsoft for products like Skype for Business. We already provide native integration with Link 2013 and will soon have a multimedia connector for Skype for Business. We are also planning to extend this to cloud-based solutions as they are developed. One of the key products Genesys offers that has a major effect outside the contact center is IWD, or Intelligent Workload Distribution, which is the primary ingredient for our enterprise workload management solution. You sell IWD by showing how it solves specific problems. This means you need to discover what problems your prospects are having first, and then explain how IWD can help solve the problem. Here's a list of the typical problems encountered every day in back-office environments. A growing backlog of work items, building up every day and rolling over into the following day. Bottlenecks in the process, which never seem to clear. The need to keep reprioritizing work items manually, often because they have been forgotten or someone has complained, which has resulted in an escalation. A lack of visibility of what is actually going on with no real metrics to measure, only a gut feel that things aren't running smoothly. This lack of visibility also makes planning a nightmare. The only way to determine if the team is overworked or underworked, or if there is the ability to take on additional processes, is by estimating or working on averages and simple allocation of work. In this type of environment, where work items are created by back-office systems and then loaded into personal or group work bins, there is a tendency for agents either to cherry-pick the simplest tasks or to handle them in the order they appear in the list. Both these methods are hopelessly inefficient and exacerbate the problem. Compare this with the way you normally handle your emails after you've been out of the office for a day or two. If you start at the top and work down, or select the easy items to handle first and leave the harder ones till later, would this have an impact on your effectiveness? Of course it would, and yet so many back offices operate in just this fashion. Intelligent workload distribution, which is the primary ingredient for our enterprise workload management solution. The problems I've just described in the back office may have a familiar ring to them. Isn't this just the type of problem that current contact center technology is designed to solve? In the contact center, interactions, as opposed to work items, arrive at different times and of varying importance and priority, and have to be routed to an appropriate resource. These interactions queue up and need to be continually monitored to see which one has the highest priority and what resource is currently available to handle it. As conditions change, it may be necessary to alter the priority of some of these interactions. Real-time and historic reports are available to ensure that the contact center is running efficiently and to define service levels. Resource can be planned effectively to match forecasted workload. The business has a real handle on what the contact center is doing and how it's affecting business as a whole. Surely, this technology applies equally well to the back office. Intelligent workload distribution does just that. It captures all the work items associated with customer service from one or more business process management, CRM, workflow, or other back office systems, and places them in a global task list. It then calculates the relative priority of all the items and distributes them to the most appropriate resource. By knowing what resource is currently available, it's possible to assign and monitor service levels for all the different type of work items currently active. The global task list is not static, but is continually being monitored either by predetermined business rules or by manual intervention of appropriate operational staff. As IWD knows exactly what is going on, it's able to manage the work items and resource effectively and provide reports highlighting the total operation. IWD can work independently from the contact center, or even where no contact center exists at all. But since the underlying technology is the same for both, the CX platform, this can be used as the basis for improving the operation between front and back office. Workload can be shared between both using defined routing strategies and business rules. This also allows the contact center to help with specific customer contacts required by the back office processes. So, for example, if the customer needs to be contacted because his order is delayed or there is a problem with his payment, this can be handled much more efficiently by the contact center using Genesys Notification Center. By implementing this technology, the back office processes can be managed and monitored effectively, ensuring that the entire customer service operation is working well, in line with the service levels predefined by the business. IWD can work independently from the contact center, or even where no contact center exists at all. But since the underlying technology is the same for both, the CX platform, this can be used as the basis for improving the operation between front and back office. Workload can be shared between both using defined routing strategies and business rules. This also allows the contact center to help with specific customer contacts required by the back office processes. So, for example, if the customer needs to be contacted because his order is delayed or there is a problem with his payment, this can be handled much more efficiently by the contact center using Genesys Notification Center. By implementing this technology, the back office processes can be managed and monitored effectively, ensuring that the entire customer service operation is working well, in line with the service levels predefined by the business. This is how enterprise workload management works in practice. All the existing customer relationship management, business process management, and workload management systems continue to create work items as before. But now, rather than just load these into work bins, the work items are handled in a global task list, which is controlled by business rules and continuously reprioritized based on time, importance, and SLA adherence. So, for example, a minor task which is in danger of having its SLA response time breached is moved up the list. The employees no longer need to log in and out of multiple systems to access particular work items. Instead, the system knows what items they can handle depending on their skills and can allocate work items appropriate to their abilities and that are the most important to the business efficiency. Managers and administrators now have the ability to monitor and report on exactly what is going on, identify problem areas or skill deficiencies, and put plans in place to minimize or eliminate the problems completely. When implementing a workload management solution, the three key capabilities that will deliver an improvement to back office operation are shown here. First, rather than allowing workers to cherry-pick tasks or forcing them to log into different systems to handle different tasks, all work items are consolidated into a single global task list so that they can be handled effectively. Second, once all the work items are on a single list, their distribution can be optimized based on predefined business rules and continuously be reprioritized to meet changing conditions and service level agreements. And finally, the administrators and managers now have visibility of workforce performance and can identify and correct gaps in employee skills and knowledge. So now you understand what the customer experience platform can do. The next two modules will cover how we sell Genesys in editions and look under the covers to see how all this works. Genesys has an awful lot of products, over 320 separate items on the current pricing lists. So listing all available products to a prospect is a sure way to bore them to tears. So how should you approach putting a suitable package together to meet a prospect's requirements? We have two formats to allow you to do this, editions and solutions. Let's look at editions first. Genesys solutions are sold in three editions, Premier, Business and Enterprise. You can select which edition best suits your prospect based mainly on size, complexity and speed of installation. There is no hard and fast dividing line between the editions, and this slide shows the main features for each edition. The Premier edition is cloud-based only and is aimed at small to medium-sized installations who are looking for a fast, simple solution for their customer interaction needs. Premier edition comes with its own user interface, CX Builder, and analytics package, CX Analytics, allowing users to get up and running to their particular needs very quickly, typically in less than 30 days. Limited customization is available, but the focus is on getting a standard configuration and installation up and running quickly. Business edition comes in both cloud and premise-based offerings and has a number of pre-packaged options available. allowing prospects to pick and mix different options to suit their particular needs. These come with configurable routing strategies, which can be easily modified to suit specific requirements. Business Edition uses the standard user interfaces of Administrator and Composer, and analytics are supported using Pulse and Interactive Insights. Enterprise Edition offers the full capability of all Genesys solutions necessary for very large or very complex installations. This is ideal for prospects wanting to introduce a customer experience platform tailored to their exact requirements and fully integrated with their existing systems and processes. Enterprise Edition is available in cloud and premise-based options, plus a hybrid mix of both if required. Premier Edition runs on its own platform with its own configuration and analytics tools. Business and Enterprise Editions both run on the same platform in both cloud and premise-based offerings. So it is possible to migrate from business to enterprise or from cloud to premise or vice versa at a later date if necessary. So in summary then, Premier Edition is aimed at customers who want a fast and easy installation. Business Edition offers a range of pre-packaged solutions to meet specific requirements. And Enterprise offers the entire range of Genesys products to support large and complex solutions. It's worth mentioning that not all editions are available in every country. Premier is mainly available in North America, and the cloud-based versions of Business and Enterprise are available in North America and specific areas in EMEA, LATAM, and APAC. Genesys is expanding its coverage, so check locally to see what is supported. In addition to making it easier for prospective customers to choose what Genesys offerings they want by selecting a particular edition, we are also offering pre-packaged solutions. So what is a solution? A solution is a packaged offering that addresses a specific customer problem. A solution typically contains a combination of one or more products, defined services, and potentially third-party components. Whether the customer's goal is to modernize the contact center, increase workforce quality and efficiency, or drive better omnichannel customer experiences, you should now understand how Genesys offers an open and scalable platform which can address all aspects of modernization, transformation, and innovation. You may remember, way back in Module 2, I said that the Genesys hotdog slide should not be used in front of customers, as it's too Genesys-centric. It works okay for describing products, but that is not what you should be doing when selling Genesys to a prospect. So, what should you use? There are plenty of schematics around, and you should use the one you're most comfortable with. But this one is a good starting point, as it shows the key solutions within the Genesys portfolio. And by now, you should be able to relate what products go to make up each solution. The key point is to relate a Genesys solution to a problem that the prospect has discussed with you. So, for example, if a prospect's key problem is poor utilization of existing workforce, or perhaps a desire to reduce workforce numbers, workload management and workforce planning are obvious solutions to discuss. But maybe enhanced self-service would help. And are the interactions going to the right resource? If not, enhanced CX routing would improve matters. Maybe the notification center could preempt a good proportion of incoming calls, reducing the load on the contact center. Maybe the current contact center needs updating. Are the business users getting the reports they need to make the appropriate decisions? If not, are analytics products would help. That's what selling is all about. Find out the business issues and then propose appropriate solutions. Click on each of the segments in the schematic to see a short description of that particular solution. As you would expect, not all solutions are available on all editions, and this chart shows you the current situation. Note that the solutions marked with an asterisk are still on our roadmap or are not yet available in all versions. Self-service IVR, inbound engagement, digital engagement center, interaction analytics, multimedia communications, and workforce planning are all available on all 3 editions. Time now for a quick quiz on the Genesys editions and solutions. Now it's time to take a little peek under the covers of the CX platform and see what it's made of. Although you won't normally be expected to explain or even discuss the CX platform in detail to a prospect, you do need to understand the main building blocks so you appreciate what it can do and pass on any technical questions in an articulate manner. Following this, we'll discuss Conversation Manager in more detail. The basic platform component is the CX or Customer Experience Platform. This consists of the Universal Routing Server, URS, or commonly referred to as router, together with the two primary user interfaces, Administrator, together with the latest enhancements in Administrator Extensions, which handles all administration functions for the platform, and Composer, which provides an application programming interface to various applications both internal to the CX platform, such as the writing strategies, and external to the CX platform, such as GVP and Outbound Engagement Center. In addition, basic reporting is provided in real time with Pulse and historically with CC Analyzer, with Stats Server providing the data repository for all interaction data. Connectivity to the telephony world is provided either by T-servers in a TDM environment or by SIP server in an IP environment, including the Genesys SIP Contact Center. Outbound voice calls are supported by the Outbound Engagement Center, and other outbound interactions like Notification Center are also supported. If interactions other than voice, for example email, web chat or social media, are required, the interaction server is used to handle these. Finally, within the CX platform, the orchestration server is available, which makes it much easier to interact with external services such as application servers and external business logic. The orchestration server acts a bit like a T-server, except that it communicates not with PBXs, but with carrier switches, soft ACDs, email, web, and workflow servers, using an open architecture language such as SCXML and ECMA scripts. It also allows external business logic, such as business process management systems or other web-based applications, to influence the routing strategies. The preferred agent desktop to support the functionality of the CX platform is Workspace, which interfaces directly with the CX platform and supports all interaction types. In addition, if voice-assisted or self-service is required, Genesys Voice Platform, or GVP, provides this service. Connectivity to certain back-office applications like SAP or Siebel is available via the G+ adapters, and partners can use the Software Development Toolkit SDK, still considered by most to be the best of breed, to connect to other third-party applications or hardware, or to custom applications. And finally, Interactive Insights, together with the Infomart, is available to provide a source of business analytics for the contact center. And we are adding further business analytics tools such as Genesys Social Analytics. The CX platform is available in a range of different licenses: enabled seat, concurrent seat, and named user for both premise and cloud-based solutions. It's important to understand that the actual CX platform is identical in each of these different versions. It's just licensed to them. Conversation Manager was introduced as a new innovation in version 8 and is an option with the Enterprise Edition of Genesys. It is not exactly part of the CX platform, but tightly integrated with it. This product fills two major gaps: to allow customer conversations to be handled intelligently across multiple interaction types and over time, together with the ability to maximize moments of opportunity which occur all the time during conversations and which are often missed or overlooked. Conversation Manager makes sure that the customer can be identified and their intent is predicted as soon as possible, based on information we already have about them. Once the context of the interaction has been determined, Conversation Manager then uses intelligent business rules to determine what the best resource is to handle this particular interaction. Let's look at this in a bit more detail. Rather than treating every new interaction as a brand new, isolated communication, Conversation Manager first looks at the circumstances around the interaction based on the information it already has about the caller and what has happened previously. Who is the customer? Have they communicated with us previously? What services do they normally use? What type of customer are they? Are there any open requests for this customer which would indicate why they are calling? Were they halfway through requesting a service or product previously and may want to continue this operation now? Where are they calling from? Office, home, or their mobile? We may even want to use their exact location by an app on a smartphone if this is relevant. All this information can be used to enable a router to make an intelligent decision on how to route the interaction and provides all the relevant information to make sure that the agent, real or virtual, is well prepared to answer the request effectively. Next, Conversation Manager considers the goals of the business in order to make sure that the best result can be obtained from this interaction, regardless of why the customer is calling. Ideally, how does the business want to treat this customer and their current request? Are they a high-value customer? Is this a high-value interaction? Is the business keen to retain this type of customer? Based on previous behavior, is there a possibility that they are thinking of cancelling their service or closing their account? Is now a good time to offer an upsell opportunity? Do they fit into the right category for a new sales opportunity? All these goals can be taken into account so that the resource handling the interaction is prompted to follow the most appropriate course of action. Conversation Manager uses context services to determine all the relevant information about every interaction and a rule system to ensure that the best outcome is achieved, regardless of which communication channel the customer is using. This next slide shows how channels, conversations, and people all come together in the handling of customer conversations across multiple channels and over time. It's a typical example of an omni-channel and multimodal conversation. The conversation starts off with the end user potential customer checking out her personal social media sites. A friend may have recommended a particular product or service, for example, and this generates interest, so she starts checking to see what other people have been saying about the company and its products and services. Looks good. So she then goes to the prospect company's website to check a bit deeper. This could well be the first direct touch between the end user customer and the prospect company. So any information gathered here may well be valuable later. The prospective customer then makes the first direct contact with the company, already interested in the product or service, possibly while she's still viewing the website or even filling in an application or order form. This first contact should be a pleasurable experience, with the IVR accessing any useful information gathered from the web interaction to tailor the conversation by offering the areas of interest up front, for example, or going straight to the service she's interested in, not just delivering an anonymous list of every possible service available. With her experience of the company already exceeding expectations so far, she then asks to speak to an agent, or maybe offered that option by the IVR. The agent is able to continue the conversation seamlessly, answering any other questions she may have, and enforcing the perception of a company worth doing business with. The agent may even be able to upsell or cross-sell additional products or services at this point, if appropriate. Back to the web to contact a few more virtual friends or colleagues to confirm her decision to purchase, followed by a trip to the shop or branch to check out the service offered in a face-to-face situation. Again, the front of store staff can access the history of what has gone before and close the sale, followed by welcome onboarding or customer surveys shortly after to reinforce the, hopefully, long-term relationship with the new company. These various interactions span multiple channels of communication and time, but each one reinforces the perception of excellent customer service and build on what has happened before. So by the time the customer comes to complete the sale, she's left in no doubt that she's made the correct decision From the company's point of view, an initial contact has followed a defined and well thought out plan towards the final sale, with the company's reputation being enhanced at every step. A true win-win result. Time for another quiz on the mysteries of the CX platform and Conversation Manager under the covers.